better.
Yeah.
Because again, that emotional intimacy only enhances the physical intimacy. So emotional vulnerability helps you foster closeness and intimacy. Number two, it helps ease anxiety.
Absolutely.
Have you ever seen a couple, they are married, but you can almost literally see a wall between them. It's not physical wall, but you can sense it.
But you can see there's no that closeness. There's no that friendship.
If I'm on my phone and my wife is talking to me, I kind of put it. You get what I'm saying? Yeah? There's not that transparency. So emotional vulnerability allows you to be transparent. It eases the anxiety. And to be honest, Rose, you're supposed to be very at ease with the man or the woman you married.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, it is the opposite.
Now, let me introduce something.
Please do.
On having best friends. When you're already married. For example, having a male best friend and my husband having a female best friend. Why does this thing happen?
You've opened a kind of worms.
Yes, because people keep insisting, and people take relationships so casually. It's good to have fun in the relationship, but also take seriously the commitment that is. I don't understand the concept of having another best friend when you already have a best friend in your spouse.
Absolutely.
And the reason why you will find a person having another best friend outside the confines of your marriage, it is because you have refused to be vulnerable with your partner. And that is why I'm telling you, sometimes men give excuses in terms of being vulnerable, because you will find a man not opening up with their partner, but they have a best friend somewhere who they can cry with, they can laugh with, they can express all these other feelings with. So that begs the question, are you really in love with your partner? Are you really friends with your partner? Because what are you seeking outside?
You opened a can of worms there. There's something known as emotional infidelity.
Yes.
You know that?
Absolutely.
Whereby you can talk freely with someone of the opposite sex, but you cannot be as free with your spouse. That's emotional infidelity.
Exactly.
So again, it's very important for us to understand you should be at ease with your partner. And that comes through being emotionally vulnerable. Another benefit of being emotionally vulnerable is that it is liberating.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Isn't it?
Your partner should be your actual home, not the physical space. But emotionally, that should be
your two eyes.
Thank you. Wow. Your partner should really be your home.
So wherever you are with him or her, that's home. Not necessarily the house you live in.
No.
You could be in a mad house, but that's home as long as he's there.
Forget about the physical space. You can go anywhere with your partner. You can live anywhere with your partner, but as long as they are there and you have entrusted your heart to them, then they are home to you. If you don't feel that way about your partner, then there's a lot of work that needs to go into your relationship.
You need to redig the foundation.
You need to rekindle that fire.
My God. Is it fair to say the reason why people's physical intimacy, the fire has died out, is because of lack of emotional vulnerability?
Absolutely.
That's one of the reasons.
In fact, it's one of the major reasons why the physical intimacy fire burns down or burns out. It is because people are not able to, mumengiza madharau, you no longer value this person the way you used to value them, used to look at them, you used to respect them, used to be afraid of speaking in a certain way to them. You just desired to speak in a respectful way, in an adorable way, but you no longer see it that way.
Absolutely.
And that is why and that's because now you've stopped being emotionally vulnerable with this person. And again, you have looked for other ways outside or other options outside, such that even if you're not cheating physically, you're cheating emotionally.
There's
so
emotional infidelity.
There's emotional infidelity. So I mean,
awesome. I love that. Another benefit of emotional vulnerability is it enhances authenticity. Do you know there are couples who are not real with each other? There's a lot of fakeness. There's a lot of masks. Like if you see your spouse with his best his best friends, you're like, oh, nemodhuri wako.
You know,
he doesn't
exactly.
act like that? You know what I'm saying? And it is sad, really, because someone said marriage is like a fortified city.
Yeah.
Those that are in want to get out, those that are out want to get in. But marriage doesn't have to be a prison. It doesn't have to be a prison.
That's why I said you need to have fun in your marriage.
And be authentic.
Also.
Be your real self.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why we come together is to improve on our strengths and minimize our weaknesses.
Yeah.
Because your partner, what you find difficult to achieve, they can help you achieve it. Yeah. And that is why we are running away from the African traditional society and what they believed about marriage and coming home to partnership when it comes to marriage.
Absolutely.
Because for you to grow, there has to be partnership.
Absolutely.
When there's that wall of, boss and employee, then there are limits.
There are boundaries.
Yeah, but cross. When it's partnership, the limits are they're actually no limits. It's limitless. Yeah. Sorry. So, I support partnership highly.
I do. So again, the benefits of emotional. Give me some few also.
I think you've said like all there is to say.
Yeah.
But in terms of emotional vulnerability, there is also a sense of security. That comes with it, because you will never experience battles internally. All the battles that are coming externally, and so you will be fighting from the same end. You'll be pulling that rope from the same side, and so you're fighting the enemy outside, not inside. So there's a lot of security, and once you feel secure, then there's nothing you cannot achieve.
You say something which is important. The reason why sometimes marriages are hard is because when I go out there, I'm fighting outside forces, and then when I come home, I'm still fighting my wife. It will wear me out, and vice versa, right? So what you're saying is that when there's that trust, when it's two of you against the world,
you
can handle any issue.
You can handle anything,
right? Now, listen to this. How can you advise a couple who, for them, there's a new concept? What are the baby steps they can take towards being more vulnerable to your spouse? In my notes, number one, I said, start small. If you're nervous about opening up to your partner, start by sharing something simple that doesn't feel too emotionally risky. So you can start small. You can say something silly like, today in the office, there's this mama who came and she was like, all shouting. And then start.
See the response.
Just start somewhere, isn't it? Do you agree?
Yeah, and of course, the first step is usually the hardest.
It is.
Even for a toddler.
Yeah.
The first step is usually the hardest, but once they gather the courage to do it, it keeps building. Starting small is the goal. Starting and keep moving is actually the goal. And since you're already there, why don't you explore those possibilities? So, I mean, the only way to get there is by starting. And then, of course, there is therapy. Sometimes you cannot overcome certain things overnight, because remember, already you have built a wall. Both of you have built a wall. It's not something that you're familiar with at this point. So it requires maybe somebody outside of your relationship to come and bring in new perspectives. So maybe you can start with therapy, not necessarily even going to a therapist, but for those especially who have active what do they call them, a best couple that is active, you can start by maybe talking to them, tell them what is coming in the way of your openness.
Absolutely.
And also talk to more couples. Si lazima hata ukuje directly and tell them, in our marriage we're struggling with this and this and that. You can ask indirect questions just to hear the way other couples are approaching their marriage.
Absolutely.
And then now try and go and apply the same principles and see how it will work for your relationship.
Another way you can do it, which I believe is important, especially for Christian couples, like praying about it.
Oh, I love it.
Just saying, Lord, teach me how to be emotionally vulnerable to my spouse. And make it a prayer that you're praying, she's praying. And the Spirit of the Lord will show you how.
I love when you said that, because honestly, I don't even think anything beats that. Anything beats that. And for people to understand that God is not just a name that is mentioned out there. When you open up to him, you see the thing about opening up, there is such a huge possibility of growth, even spiritually. So when you open up to God, because he's already there waiting on you, and there's nothing he values like marriage, and that has already started in the triune nature of God. He has showed that to you with, you know, the relationship there is between God, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So there's that relationship that he shows, and therefore going to God is actually it.
It should be the first thing, actually, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I believe it, because you see, the Spirit of God, a bit of theology. In Greek, he's known as the Paraclete. One
teach me,
to help. The Comforter. The Greek word.
Okay.
One who walks alongside to help. Help you what? In everything.
True.
Teach me how to be emotionally vulnerable to my spouse, and he will. So that even when you open up to them, they won't like, all right, I get it. Let that sink in. And again, it will help fortify your relationship, isn't it? So marriage should not be mjaribu tries X. No. You should be very deliberate very intentional about it, because marriage is not child's play. The minute you commit to someone, all holds of hell are released to try to
oh my goodness, because the goal of the enemy is to separate, to divide.
I don't think there's an institution that is faced with challenges like marriage. It's ridiculous.
There's a lot of work to do with marriage.
Like you can go to work and everything was okay, you go home and he says or she says something and a war erupts. And you're like, okay, where did that come from?
You know?
You know what I mean? So there's such an attack, and I know this is not a marriage show, but listen, another area I've seen, Rose, sometimes there's a difference between hearing and understanding. I may say something, but how you interpret it is a make or break. So I've seen in marriage couples, you can say something to your spouse, but the way she or he interprets it is totally from your intentions, and that brings war, because there's miscommunication. You get that? So I'm saying that just to let our viewers know, something small can trigger World War IV.
It's true.
Something like that. You know what I mean? So again, when you're emotionally vulnerable, in a situation of when you're tense, you can be like, all right, let's calm down a little bit. What happened here? Let's evaluate the situation. And you're like, okay, I'm sorry I shouted. I'm sorry I did do this. And you see, a soft answer turns away wrath. So if there's emotional vulnerability, you're able to calm down and realize he's not my enemy, I'm not an enemy. So let us agree to solve these things. So the benefits of emotional vulnerability, you cannot exhaust them.
They're limitless. True.
They're limitless. So another way, apart from prayer, is you can start by sharing, I call them embarrassing stories about yourself. To make it easy, ni kama icebreaker. Exactly. And see how she responds. Maybe they'll laugh or anything. And that way makes it easy for you to open up.
The other thing is actually doing more activities together.
Oh, I was about to say that.
You know, read the word together, pray together, cook together. That is why I'm insisting on partnership. You know, do all these activities to go to church together, so that you can create time, quality time. Because if there's something that will help you open up to your partner, is if you're spending time together.
Quality time.
One
of the love languages.
It's important, honestly, in all marriages.
True.
It should be one of the, you know, the one that leads. So that if you're every minute you get to spend with your partner, for example, I know men love spending time with the boys, but it's important to prioritize your family. Go home, sit there with your wife, with your children, even if you don't have to talk. The fact that you're there, it helps to some extent, because that's when you create that space for you to see through your partner, to see if they're struggling with work, to be able to have that conversation. When they see you there, you're the next person they're going to pour out their you know, their struggles. So it's good to spend enough quality time together.
You know, one of the challenges men have is, if we go home early, often tunambiango na boys when waikariro wewe umekali ni saa ngapi mwanaume anaenda nyumbani,
you know.
So there's so much pressure on us.
I actually did a video of are you man enough if you go home early. I did that video. It's on YouTube. You guys should go check it out because sometimes collective behavior really destroys the institution of marriage.
Oh, that's a big word.
Yes, collective behavior. Because you go sit with the boys, they'll say one thing and go do another in their homes. So you need to be an independent mind when it comes to handling your family. Have your own principles, and then all these other things will come later.
Do you know even it can work on the flip side for women? Let's say you go for a chama. And you know, women are like,
yes.
But when they go home, they do totally different. And you're there, you're like, Sinani say, and you go and do it. No. Be an independent
thinker.
Yeah.
If you don't feel like you're in a safe space, for example, in a chama, to express how you view marriage, you don't have to.
Or if you feel the people, you see, the Bible says two cannot walk together unless in agreement.
Oh, I love that.
Light and darkness cannot work. So if the people in your chama do not believe your values,
you don't
talk
need
to them
to.
About your marriage. If let's say you find two of them, their relationship is broken, why would you share about relationship with them? So wisdom also dictates you know who to open up to.
Exactly.
I normally say in a marriage 3 is a crowd.
True.
It's a crowd, isn't it? So you should be able to be an independent thinker and prayerfully say, God, give me wisdom how to make this thing work. Because not everybody wants what is best for you.
They are probably envying that marriage and they want it to break.
Like, okay, there's a couple. I'm not going to mention them. They announced their divorce.
Everybody knows them, but don't mention them.
And the interesting thing is this. When I went on Twitter, now everyone has an opinion.
You know?
Si nilikuambia. So it's like everyone is waiting for people.
The downfall.
When they're doing good, they are quiet. They even like and say thumbs up.
They
but
love
the minute things go wrong, see, everyone now has an opinion. I'm like, my God. And we love to see a hero go down.
Of course. That's the nature of a human being. They are sadists. Human beings are just sadists.
And that's why one of the things I believe, especially if you're in the public space, keep your marriage private as much as possible. That's what I believe. Because there are people out there who want to see you fall because they want you to be the next topic.
You know, Edwin, when you talk about keeping your marriage private, I agree with you to some extent. But again, this is where we are insisting on emotional vulnerability. And I said something about security. If your house is secure, it doesn't matter if you're taking it out there or not. Why? Because it's not people who break your relationship. It's the two of you. Because you have allowed every other voice to dictate your home, yet you don't have voices for your home. You don't have principles for your home because you don't open up to one another to know what could make our relationship break possibly.
I know the reason I say that, Rose, is this. Sometimes when you're in the public space, people put you on a pedestal. And when they put you on the pedestal, they expect you to be perfect. And there's always that pressure on you to always make sure you put your best foot forward. You're not allowed to be human. You're not allowed to make an error. You're not allowed to say anything wrong, do something wrong. There are like hyenas ready to attack you.
True.
So when I'm talking about keeping it private, I'm talking keeping it to the sense that, of course, when you're in the public space, people have to know who you are. You can't do away with it. But in the sense
certain things.
And I agree with what you're saying. Have the right foundation. Be grounded. Do not try to project what is not real. I think that's what I meant. Don't try to project what is not real.
Exactly, I agree.
Be as real and as authentic as you are. If you don't call your wife babe in private, don't do it in public.
Exactly.
If you don't open the car door for her and in private, don't do it in
just be you.
Be you.
Just be you.
That way there will be no slip-ups.
And be confident with whatever values you share in private.
But in this age of social media, there's a lot of pressure to want to project strength in every facet of our lives.
I agree.
Which is ridiculous because no one can, even only God can, only Jesus could do that.
It's perfect.
So there's that pressure where people put you on a pedestal. Like Rose, she's a counselor. Her marriage has to be 100%. Her marriage has to be 100%, which is not so. we face the same issues anyone faces. Even sometimes, every counselor has a counselor.
Yeah.
Every therapist has a therapist.
Yeah, I actually forgot to ask. I wanted to ask, by the way, are you in therapy?
We have to be, because we are all broken. True. We are all work in progress. Yeah. So it's very important for you to understand that. Moving along, great. I love what you said. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we say one of the reasons why it is difficult for men to be vulnerable, we say men think that their spouses will think less of them. That is one of the greatest hindrances of men opening up. We think you will think less of us. Yeah. And we always want to be the hero, the knight in shining armor in front of our wives.
True.
Number 2, we are programmed to project strength, not weakness. Number 3, men who are in touch with their emotions are frowned upon. They are looked down upon. Yeah. Number 4, men are afraid of their spouses using the information they share with them because you might use it as a weapon against me. Yeah. And basically, men are taught to guard our frame. We are taught to guard our frame. So our strength lies in our silence. Have you ever asked yourself why men are silent?
Well, yeah, but with time I've learned it's because they don't want to express their weaknesses. They're afraid that if I say this or if I do this, people are going to easily tell why I did A, B, C, D. And you see, marriage is one of the greatest breeding grounds for some of these dysfunctions we talked about. Stress, addiction, because you've held onto so many emotions that you need to let out. And yet you don't trust your partner enough to let these emotions out. So like we are saying, you married somebody who you will be spending so much time with. So you just need to take that risk, that step of faith. And for both of you, you need to know that you're on the same side. And you need to be on the same side. Not just to know, but to be. To have your partner's interest at heart. And when they see that, they are going to easily open up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's about, honestly, trust. And trust is built over time. And if you can't do it on your own, then therapy is something you can easily
do you think it would be good to tell people is it good to tell people who are dating that while you're dating with the intention of marriage, that's when you should start being emotionally vulnerable? Is that fair?
Actually, from the word go. You see, for me, I can give an example with myself.
Please do.
I had decided, because I'm quite intentional with relationships, and we were actually having a conversation with someone who was asking me, you mean, Rosalie, now that you're married, you're not going to go for coffee dates with other men? Just coffee dates. They're just coffee dates, But I'm like, there's nothing that is done without an intention. Why is this person buying me tea?
True.
Why is this person buying me coffee? If it's not business, then I don't see the point. If I'm not carrying out therapy, then I don't see the point. This goes to say that you have to have a lot of intentionality. I had decided that for the man I see potential in, I have to take that risk to express those things I feel like could come in the way of this man wanting to marry me. So that when now they finally decide I actually want to marry her, regardless of all these things, then in marriage I will be secure. I will feel safe.
True.
Because they're not going to get this information outside. It came from the horse's mouth. So they have nothing to blame me about, and I expected the same.
True.
It's something I expressed to my now husband. So, of course, if you want to be safe, you can't take relationships casual and dating casual, especially if you're doing it for marriage. Just be open from the word go. It's risky, but just do it.
I agree with you 100%. One of the dangers I see in modern day couples dating is this. For them, dating is like a game. And you see, we carry so much baggage, especially if you have dated a lot. There's so much baggage in every relationship. And sometimes you're like, now if I start opening up, where do I start? How do I tell him that when I had my first boyfriend, I got pregnant and I had to abort that? How will he take it? You see, all that, you feel safer to keep it
private. And a secret, actually.
But then again, you're building on a faulty foundation, because it only takes you people to visit home, and a relatives from distant relative talks to your husband. I'm like, hey,
did
did she tell you? And then you're like, what? So you bring issues. So that openness, just trust that if he really loves me, if she really loves me, if anyone open up, he or she will accept me. If they don't accept me, it was never meant to be. But there's a generation where people are so desperate to get married, to be married,
I love
that they are willing to overlook these fundamentals. So yes, you're married, but now when you go into marriage, because the foundation is faulty, you're going from crisis to crisis. That even when you go to therapy, the therapist is like, where do I start? I thought this was the problem, but now I hear this is the problem. You get what I mean? So it's like, it's crazy. But if you laid the right foundation, and we all have baggage, so open up to him or her and say, by the way, me when I was in high school, I got pregnant and I miscarried the baby. Do you still want to get with me?
You know?
Let me think about it.
Currently, I'm struggling with debts.
Yeah.
Because my money habits are not very good.
Yes.
Let us work on these things before we get married. Let us give it time while we are dating, so that we fix all these issues. We start fixing these issues from the word go. But now, secrecy. People are building relationships on a foundation of secrecy, and so work. And so that is what they continue with when they get into marriage, because you're afraid. And actually the word of God says fear and love cannot coexist, because fear has to do with torment. Where there is fear, you have not been made perfect in love.
Absolutely.
So the Bible encourages for relationships to start from a place of vulnerability. Be open. Just know this person, if they can handle your weaknesses or not.
Think about Jesus. When he hung on the cross, he was vulnerable.
He was naked. He had let go of everything, the Son of God, every kind of dignity.
But in his vulnerability, there was power.
You know?
So we're telling couples out there, be open. If you have a baby daddy issues, just tell him. If you have a child out of it, just let them know, so that thing doesn't come and bite you later on in your relationship. Do you agree?
I agree. 100.
So, again, please, women, be very patient with the men, because it's very hard for us to open up. But with patience, we can get along. So, how does lack of emotional vulnerability affect our mental health?
Wow. Now this is actually the elephant in the room.
That's the elephant in the room.
Because like I said, marriage is one of the greatest breeding grounds for all these dysfunctions. Yet it can be the breeding ground for so much growth.
Absolutely.
When you lack emotional vulnerability with your partner, yet you're the one, they're probably who you're spending so much time with, then it means that you will have to go outside there, because at the end of the day, human beings have to express.
True.
So it means that if you're not open with your partner, you end up, it results to infidelity. That's one. And if you're not like faithful to your partner, there are other consequences that could come. One, if you're not faithful, there are sicknesses that you could catch along the way because of many other partners.
Especially nowadays.
You know, nowadays. And so if now you catch all these sicknesses, again, now you're stressed. It leads to addiction, because now you want to run from what happened to you after you did ABCD. So of course it affects your mental health, in that you will be stressed, you're not comfortable, you're not happy about what you're doing, but you don't have an option. So because there's no security in your relationship, you get it outside, and it leads to many other things.
Absolutely.
Again, there is financial instability. Why? Because again, it's just about getting out of your relationship. You know, if you cannot trust your partner, that means you trust other people. And when you need to invest in a relationship, it also calls for financial investment.
Absolutely.
This is why you see men, for example, going out to bars and buying people alcohol and buying people whatever, because they are seeking for that validation. They're seeking for belonging. But because they're not getting it where they're supposed to get it, they have now to waste resources to get it. Yet you have it here freely.
True.
You know, so of course it has an implication on your finances, because trying to belong, and it must cost you something. So
absolutely. That's awesome. So listen to this. Research has shown that bottling up thoughts, and feelings is associated with higher levels of physical and mental health problems. Being vulnerable can have a really positive impact on mental health, because when we open up, we can find a sense of relief and release. Just what you have said. She's a walking encyclopedia. Forgive her, it's her weakness. So I think we have helped our viewers.
Yeah, I think so.
Isn't
too.
it?
I feel so too.
Yeah, and I've learned a lot.
So have I.
Because honestly, my strength is not emotional vulnerability. And again, as we help others, we're also in therapy. Look at how God works.
Actually, conversations. We said a problem shared is a problem half solved.
Yes.
It's only that we're not telling them our weaknesses. But as we speak, unasikia, hapo, that's my weakness, that's my weakness. So
absolutely. So this is how I would round up our conversation. The importance of emotional vulnerability in marriage is because it is one of the keys to building a healthy, successful marriage. Would you say so?
Absolutely.
It is one of the pillars, one of the keys to building a healthy, the key word for me there is healthy, because you can be in a relationship that is toxic. But we need a healthy relationship. That's
the goal. Why is that a relationship?
Marriage. Marriage doesn't have to be a thorn in the bush.
Exactly.
I normally say this: marriage is not to be endured, it is to be enjoyed.
I love that.
And it is possible. You know, Paul says to men, husbands, live with your wives according to knowledge. Husbands, live with your wives according to knowledge. So knowledge is power. When you have knowledge, you are able to make informed choices and decisions. And you're able to build a healthy marriage and a successful marriage. Would you agree?
Love it.
What are your parting remarks?
Wow, I think having said all that we have said, what are the advice according to the word of God? First of all, you guys need to revisit. I know it has been read, this scripture has been read a million times, but until you get there, you need to constantly read it. Those that are in a relationship already, 1 Corinthians 13. God just explains in his word what love is made up of, and how your love will thrive. And finally, for the ones dating, don't awaken love
before it's time.
It's time.
What a way to end this show.
Because about relationships, about emotions, you need to open up when you're ready, so that you're able to be vulnerable.
Hello everyone, my names are Edwin Mbachu, and I am a trained counselor and a life coach by profession. Now here at Helping Hearts Counseling Center, we offer services that include youth mentorship programs, mental health awareness, guidance and counseling on drugs and substance abuse, rehabilitation services, as well as drug testing. Now we are located at Bishop Karaoke Center, opposite Wangige Level 4 Hospital, and you can reach us on 0723 820 271 or 07188 72556. Helping Hearts Counseling Services, a place of healing for you and your loved ones.